Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 14th September 2023. My name is T.S.V. Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV Nectar. The real name is Hardan, 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 Haribol TRSV Nectar, NECTAR, nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my past and future videos. So let us begin with the topic for discussion in today's video. From today, or at least in this video today, we shall discuss a new topic, that is the hard disk called brain, which is in the head of every living entity in this material world. Before going further, let me remind you that this brain is a complicated instrument designed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in various shapes and sizes for every living entity in this world, in this world, in this material world, whether it is a plant, a creeper, a tree, a worm, an insect, an animal, an amphibian, a reptile, a beast, or a human being. Believe it or not, every living entity in this material world has some form of this brain which makes it sustain life on this material world. Even the plants, grass, weeds, creepers, trees, etc., have some sensation which acts as a brain that helps these living entities to be born in this material world, to sprout or grow, and to bear fruit or otherwise. Same is the case with worms, ants, insects, reptiles, amphibians, birds, animals, etc. However, the shape and the capacity of the respective brains vary from that of a human living entity in various degrees. Usually, the brain of all living entities which are not human are restricted to their capacity to acknowledge, understand, and experience material senses alone. That is, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Some have only sight, some only hearing, some only smell, all have taste, and every one of these living entities has some sort of sensation, whether positive or negative. Only in the case of the brain of a human living entity, this particular brain has at least six senses. Only human beings have a brain which has six senses. The sixth sense is known as instinct. Only human beings have all of them fully developed with their own subtle bodies of senses, mind, feelings, emotions, and intelligence and logic fully developed. Some animals have some degree of feelings and emotions too, but even they have their own subtle body or causal body of intelligence and logic, either not in them or is totally dormant in them. It does not work to its full capacity. In fact, in many cases, in the case of other living entities, this causal body of logic does not either exist or does not even wake up or work. It is only in the case of humans that every faculty of the brain is working to its full capacity. Let us concentrate on the brain of a human living entity. What is brain? Brain is the most complicated instrument created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead or nature, which is fixed in the inside of the skull of every human living entity. This brain is mainly made of cartilage, trillions of cells, trillions of nerves, and trillions of veins. This particular brain is actually a mass of tissue which exists inside the skull of every human living entity, whether male or female. Now let us take a detour. We are taking this detour because it is going to help us understand the human brain better. Imagine a computer or a mobile phone. Both a computer and a mobile phone have embedded inside them an instrument called hard disk, which is wholly and solely responsible for the working and existence of that particular computer or mobile phone. Without a hard disk, either a computer or a mobile phone is just a piece of junk. It has no value except that of the material which can be sold in the trash market and which is a part of that computer or mobile phone. This small piece called hard disk makes this computer or this mobile phone come out alive, work, and execute tasks for the sake of its owner in this material world. This hard disk has some programs embedded into it, like in the case of computers, there are various programs like DOS, MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Similarly, the mobile phone also has several apps embedded right in the beginning when this particular hard disk of the mobile phone becomes operational, that is, it comes into existence. This mobile phone or this computer can begin working normally only when this hard disk with its programs embedded into it comes out live inside that computer or the mobile phone. Similarly, the brain is the hard disk of every human body or being or human living entity, whether male or female. Without brain, this particular human living entity is totally useless. Its gross body is worth only the material or the raw material this gross body is made up of. Just like programs like MS Word, DOS, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. are embedded into the hard disk when it is fixed to its respective computer. Similarly, three layers of subtle body start sending vibrations through transmissions into this brain right from the moment this brain, this baby, or this human, a living entity, is born. In other words, as soon as this human, a living entity, is either conceived in the womb of its mother or is born, these vibrations come to the brain from the subtle bodies of that human living entity, whether male or female, continuously till this particular human living entity ceases to exist. So, just like programs in a computer's hard disk, this brain has these vibrations from its three subtle bodies, namely the etheric body of senses, which are sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, plus the astral body of feelings, emotions, and mind, and the causal body of intelligence and logic. These come ready made as soon as that particular human living entity, whether male or female, is born. However, in the case of a computer or a mobile phone, it also has transmissions or vibrations which are not a part and parcel of its subtle bodies or its programs, embedded programs. These vibrations or transmissions come from the ether world, etheric world through the internet. This internet is increasingly becoming a part and parcel of every computer and mobile phone. It comes separately through satellites in the space of a particular computer or its country. Every country has its satellites which catch messages from the Ethernet and transmit them to the computer or the mobile phone. Similarly, some transmissions do happen from the etheric world of the internet of this space, which get transmitted into the brain directly. Yes, indirectly, some subtle vibrations may catch these transmissions and pass them on to the brain of a human living entity. But the fact remains that these vibrations are not born in those subtle bodies of causal intelligence, astral mind, or etheric senses. These transmissions are separate from them. That is the reason why there are some occurrences, happenings, maladies, medical problems, etc., which scientists are not able to decipher perfectly or get confused about because they come directly from the space and the origin of such vibration is not either unexplainable or is not explainable or cannot be found out. The cancer, a disease that affects every human living entity, or every human living entity is likely to suffer from, plus brain strokes, viruses, AIDS, etc., are those disturbances that are caused directly from the internet of space, which are related directly to the human living entity's body. So, medical people are usually at sea as to what is the origin of such maladies. Nobody knows how there happens what is known as a brain attack, which is also known as a stroke, which leaves a part of the body of a human living entity totally paralyzed. Yes, there are some reasons for this which are attributed to be the cause for such stroke. They may be clot in the brain, lack of oxygen, lack of blood flow or proper blood flow, smoking, drinking, and many such maladies. But even today, the scientists do not know whether these are the causes for such stroke or a result of such stroke. People are experimenting on the genes of every human living entity which has some sort of blueprint which predicts what malady that particular human living entity will suffer from at what age. However, even here, it looks as if this particular blueprint is designed only in such a way that it is likely to catch such vibrations from the ether at the right time and pass it on to the human brain of a particular human living entity, whether male or female. I will put it in another way. There are blueprints called genes in the body of every human living entity. According to some scientists, these blueprints tell when a particular person will suffer from a malady. However, those maladies are not caused by those genes. These genes only have a blueprint and a capacity or capability to catch vibrations from the space at the right time so that such vibrations from the space could be transmitted to the brain and thus the malady can happen. Whether it is cancer, stroke, heart attack, cardiac arrest, or any such malady, something which the scientists are not able to predict properly even today. They are doing a research on this. There is one malady called leukemia or blood cancer, where the red blood corpuscles of the blood of any human living entity begin to multiply in size without any possible or explainable reason. Scientists all over the world, despite working hours in the labs, are not able to predict how such a thing happens. It is very well known that this is because of some message or vibration transmitted from the ether to the blueprint and the genes of the body, or which further is transmitted to the brain of the body of any human living entity, whether male or female. This brain is not only complicated, but it has trillions of cells, nerves, veins, etc., which form a complicated machinery that monitors and regulates the rest of the gross body of a human living entity. Vibrations emanate out of the three subtle bodies continuously, and these vibrations are transmitted to that brain of that living entity. But besides these transmissions, there are some mysterious transmissions or vibrations that come from the universe, are caught by the sensitive DNA or brains and its cells and nerves, and passed on to a particular human living entity because of some prior design and not because of any default. In other words, such transmissions are not a matter of chance. It is said that there is some flow of electricity through the nerves and veins of the brain. This electricity does not come from the subtle bodies of that human living entity. This electricity comes directly from the ether, and it may hit this brain just like an overflow of electricity hits or strikes a electric transformer in any locality. Suppose this brain is used to only taking 400 volts of electricity. Suddenly, without any reason or plausible reason, there is a sudden gush of uncontrolled and huge jolt or dosage of electricity to the veins of the same brain, and that quantity of electricity is, say, 4,000 or 40,000 volts. In such a case, this brain, this mass of tissue inside the cranium of a living entity, goes haywire and some part of it gets burnt and damaged permanently. This is the reason why there is a brain attack in the brains of any human living entity. Believe it or not, this is not by accident. Some unknown power decides which brain should catch such vibration and which should not catch such vibrations. To simplify things for the life and understanding of a human living entity, the causes are attributed to his or her destiny and karma. So be it. Possibly some destiny or karma of a living entity attracts such inflow and sudden gush of high voltage of electricity inside his or her brain, and that results in a stroke. Similarly, this brain attracts some unknown virus from the ether which causes leukemia, cancer, heart attack, etc. Nobody knows how this is happening, though they may gauge the fact that it could have been caused by the destiny and karma of that particular living entity. Please remember that the memories of past birth of one particular living entity play a large part in deciding what maladies, viruses, jolts of electricity, etc., one particular living entity should catch. There have been several instances when some guys miraculously escaped some accidents or calamities, etc., while others got hit and died because of them. These accidents or these mysteries are applicable only to the living entities. Actually, there are no such miracles. In the kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is some design which is perfect and which is monitored and regulated by some unknown power that decides which person should experience, enjoy, or suffer what pain, pleasure, or disease. We must all remember this, acknowledge this, and hope that we are not party to any such calamity or disaster which will adversely affect our own lives, destiny, and karma. I would like to repeat here that our ultimate aim is to get self realized, liberated from this endless chain of births and deaths in this material world and finally get delivered as evolved souls into the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is all I wanted to talk about in this particular video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter or subject. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Still, before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.